All right, y'all. Good morning. It's your boy DJ Big Cat. Today I got a special edition of the Safe Space. Um, I've been talking to quite a few people about this, and I'm glad to say the first person I'm gonna get to interview is my very own mother, somebody I hold near and dear to my heart, my hero. Um, so we're gonna take up your time for about 30 minutes today. Um, as usual, we're not gonna really be too structured, but we're gonna keep it transparent. We're gonna be vulnerable, and we're gonna be respectful amongst one another. And hopefully, we either build upon this if the session needs to go longer, or we will, yeah, make it to where the content is clear and you can ask us follow up questions. The whole thing about this is just being comfortable talking to people, having conversations that may be deemed difficult in an everyday setting. But I thank you first for your time. I know you're very busy. You got a lot going on even today. So let's get into it. I want you to tell me a little bit how it was growing up for you, because I know you're the youngest of nine. Uh, I know you lost a sibling, so we really relate in a lot of areas, and I just kind of want you to shed a little light on your upbringing.
Yes, that's correct. I'm the youngest of nine. Um, I really don't have a lot to say about my upbringing. I grew up, my mother and my father, two-parent household. My father was a alcoholic, and that was something different. But
In what sense, if you don't mind me asking?
what do you mean? In what sense of what?
Like when you say it was different, like what expectation did you have, or who
I
said?
did, and that's what I'm saying. It was different because I didn't have an expectation. I didn't even know to have an expectation. I didn't grow up in a house where we had any Bible, any structure of God, any talk about God, any of those things, But I do remember as a child praying, so it had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
But I didn't. My family, my brothers and sisters, and I, we not close. Like I said, I'm the youngest of nine. We don't have a close family. Didn't have a good relationship with my well, my mother's mother lived a long time. I met my mother's father maybe twice. He lived a long time, but we did not have a close family structure. We didn't have a good foundation, I'll say.
Okay. Okay.
But I'll say this about my mother: she taught me morals. She taught me to respect elders, and she taught me to respect myself. Those things that she did teach me helped me along the way, but it also defined a lot of how I raised my children that I realized was not the concept that I should have taken. I'm not going to say the concept I should have taken. I just did it the wrong way. I'll say that to
You know
some
what?
degree.
But before you even go down that road, let me tell you this. There is no right way, and that's what's tough. Like that's why I asked the comment. Like when you say, um, with your father being an alcoholic and that not necessarily being something that resonated with you in the proper way or in the right way, or made you feel good. It's like compared to what? Because the alternative could have been him not being there. The alternative could have
But
been
but
him.
but but a lot of things I didn't share with you all. My
Yeah.
father wasn't also only an alcoholic. He was abusive to my mother as well.
Ah, okay, I got you. I got
Yeah.
you.
So even though he had some good qualities like great protector,
Yeah.
I got to give him that great protector. He wouldn't. All of the nine children were not my father's. Only the oldest child and the youngest two, but he treated all nine of us. I never heard my brothers and sisters say, "You're not my father," and I never once heard him say to my mama, "Those are not my kids." He ran for the
Wait.
ones that wasn't his, just like the ones that were.
So this is why, man. I'm telling y'all how important family history is, because did you say your oldest sibling was
Yes.
his and then the youngest two? I didn't even know
Yes.
that. I didn't
Your
know that.
uncle Michael and me and Danetta, we have the same father. Everybody else in between those other six don't have the same father.
Wow. No, I mean
They have different
but I
fathers.
didn't know it was that span to where like the
Yes,
oldest and then the
yes,
youngest two. Like that's crazy. That's
yes,
wild. That's wild.
yes. Like he went to prison somewhere,
Ah, okay. That
in
explains it then.
between. Yes, in
I got
between those six.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, it like with you saying that it helps me. I don't care what nobody else say, but it helps me understand a lot of where your fire comes from.
Yeah.
Um, so like with all of that, where'd you find this inspiration? Like where'd you really? Because I know of the nine, you know, I'm trying to think of how to say this without offending anybody because this is just my opinion. But where'd you find the knack for change? Like when you made the decision to like not be a product of your environment.
Wow. I'm a little emotional. I'm an emotional person.
Oh, I already told. I look. You don't know our boy. He
I
already
don't
know.
remember a lot of things, but I do know this. I know that I'll say this. For some reason, God just always had his hand on my life. I just, as I look back and I see where some things I said, we say something told you something. I realize now, being older, that was the Holy Spirit. So, um, when I was with your dad, he was a great provider, but also, um, he had his womanizing ways,
Yeah.
and so
He checked off other boxes as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But he was a great provider, So I got to be a stay-at-home mom,
Yeah.
which was great for me, which was the one thing I did process growing up, being the youngest of nine. When I got home from school, somebody was always home. So I did like that about growing up in the home. But um, so I didn't have a job. But when I got tired and I realized enough is enough, I got out to find me a job, And a little bit to make a long story short, I started working for the Cantrell Funeral Home on Mac. And Cantrell just was a very, very great black business owned, black business owner
Yeah.
who just was he was just a good man. And just being there working in a funeral home,
Yeah.
like I said, the desire for God was always there. And I was looking for churches, before I even started really working there good. I was searching, I didn't know what I was searching for because, like I said, I didn't grow up nobody talking about God or anything. And then one day he invited me to come to church, and I was at a nightclub on a Friday night, and I called Tanae, who used to be my neighbor. I said, I'm going to go to church with you on Sunday because I would go sometimes with her. I called her from a nightclub. She said, I'm not going this Sunday. And
You talking about Tanae Aisha and them?
Tanae and Raymond, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I
And
never knew that.
I got up that Saturday, and I went to Burns, Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I never went to church really on Sunday or more. I, visited church on Sunday, but that's where I started growing. And I was the type of person new in the church from the world. I didn't want nobody calling me, but Sister Lorraine Rose, she just started sending me all kind of literature in the mail, and then I started picking up that literature and I started reading it, and that's what my development of learning more about Christ and who He was, and
Just wanting
my
to be a
life.
better person.
Yeah, yeah, and my
I
life
got
just
you.
started picking up. It picked up fast and it started taking off.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna go a little deeper. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but about time I was 8 or 9, you and my dad like officially like split and we're done, or was
Oh,
it?
10. Yeah, between 9 and 10.
Well, 9 and 10. That's when we moved to Southfield. That's why I didn't say that one.
Right, but that. It was right around there. Remember, we moved to Southfield quick, so it's between 9 and 10.
Okay.
Between 9 and 10,
Okay.
because yeah, between 9 and 10. So I got the job at Providence in March. We moved to Southfield in July, but me and him had split up somewhere
Right.
right before March.
Because I
Somewhere in
remember him
between
being with
that.
us on Algonquin, but not the
Yeah,
entire time.
so you must have been between 9 and 10.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now with that transition, not even going in depth as far as me and you yet, because we're gonna touch on that a little bit. But what were some of your initial struggles with realizing that you were truly going to be a single parent at that time?
Wow, I never looked at being a single parent. How I processed it is, I never looked at being a single parent. That was never how I viewed it. I viewed it as doing what I have to do. I viewed it as, I love my kids. I want them to have a relationship with their father, but what expense? If it's gonna cost me to be miserable, that's not a sacrifice I'm willing to make. That was one of the
Mm,
sacrifices I was not willing to make.
yeah. No, I'm with you there. I totally understand that. Now, along with your struggles, I also struggle, and it wasn't something easy to come to terms with or even um, intellectually understand because, I'm a child, a growing child. And one of those big things was it wasn't even so much as not having you two together. Uh, I think it was more so trying to figure out why he didn't want us or why it felt like he didn't want us. And so for me, like when you hear somebody saying, "Oh, you just like your daddy," and blah 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 blah, like that sticks with you. And it kind of like as a child, I don't expect a parent to understand this, but as a child, like when those things are said, it's not specified what you mean when you say that.
Correct.
So for me, I took it as like the attributes about that person that you didn't like.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can honestly
Wow.
tell you that now. So when we were having the moments where either I was being disrespectful or we were arguing about something and you said that, like real talk, like that didn't do nothing but make it worse. Cause I'm
Wow.
already struggling to figure out what the hell am I doing so bad that really makes you think of me in a way where you compare me to a person that I know for damn sure hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Like being there not for everything, but see, I remember. I tell people this all the time though, but I remember my first whooping ever from my dad. Like my first real whooping. I remember we was on East Hollywood and y'all were arguing, and I think he had grabbed you or something. Whatever happened, I said, "Get your hands off my mom, nigga." And then I remember both of y'all stopped and both of y'all ended up whooping me. I don't even know if you remember that, but that was crazy.
I don't. I
I
don't. I don't. But I know you remember it at
that
that
was
end.
that was my mind your own business moment. That was my first, stay in a child's place
Yeah.
and like I told you, being around Auntie Denise and them like that, that was my mindset growing up. And I'm like that now. I don't have children, so but when it comes to like people minding their own business and a child not being in adult conversations, I'm forever gonna be an advocate for that
Yeah.
because you don't have the mentality, you don't have the mental capacity to understand what we're talking about.
Right.
You don't know what emotions are being used when we're saying certain things or uh, certain terms are being used. Me and you are people. We're very emotional. So when we talk with our hands, people automatically they put a label on us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we know a way to control it to where if you do take it that way, that's on you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's something that was really a great attribute that sometimes is deemed negative or out the norm, but I don't feel like I'm a normal person, and I don't feel like my upbringing was normal. Stereotypical is a better word for me to say, not normal,
Okay.
because
Okay.
there is no real norm, and I try and stick on to that. Like it's not the stereotypical that the average person will know with. You know what I'm saying? I see friends that I went to school with now, like coming up, people thought saying that they were from certain parts of Detroit was cool, and to me, like it just like, dog, we rode the same bus. We both live in Southfield. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't really, that never was really my thing. So I appreciate that from you. But with that, I'm going to take a little different spin on this before we continue going deeper. Um, I wanted you to know how much people really appreciate you. And I gave some people the opportunity to share stories and some feedback regarding what they just feel about you as a person, because I know that you're a lovely person. And I know the same way that you give love, you are love, and I wanted to share a couple of these with you. So give me a moment.